Good afternoon, book lovers of the internet. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe because for every subscriber, I get a new subscriber and I read a page from a book of my choice. So it is finally raining here in Malta, and in today's video, I am going to be reviewing this book called Sweet Bean Paste by the author Durian Sukegawa. This is another book translated from the Japanese, and I rated it 3 out of 5 stars, and it has about 210 pages. Um, so I actually bought this one a couple of days ago from a store called Merlin Library in Taslima here in Malta, and I didn't know at all what it would be about. I had just heard that it's a great read and it's something that I would want to give a try. I did give it a try because I finished reading it and I was certainly not disappointed. So I actually learned something about Hansen's disease or leprosy. They are the same thing. They are a disease which is frowned upon by society because there is a lack of education. And at the same time, so simultaneously, I also learned about how we all have some form of purpose in the universe. Whether it's to listen or to perceive in any way, we have to strive to be a useful part of the community for our lives, to have some form of worth. Without contributing anything to society, I suppose we can't really say that our lives have any worth whatsoever. So I'd say that this read, much like many other Japanese translations I've read, it was extremely sentimental. It was also thought-provoking, philosophical, and ultimately sad, despite the way that Japanese authors seem to correlate sadness with hope. It still made me sad towards the end, and I'm not going to spoil why for you, but if you have read the book, you'll probably understand me better by now. Sentaro, who is the protagonist, was in his own way contributing to the community he worked for, but he wasn't personally getting anything out of it. And if anything, because his job was really repetitive, it wasn't really stimulating him, he was increasingly becoming more of an alcoholic. Tokue, who is the elderly lady with leprosy who starts working with him, of course, she has been cured for about 40 years now. Um, she now holds a special place in my heart, and I am also glad how Sentaro never shrugged her off, but accepted her and allowed her to work for him. This was extremely cool of him to do, and she also taught him how to make the perfect sweet bean paste, although it took him a long time to perfect it himself. Um, this book is also about the highs and the lows that life brings with it. I suppose everybody goes through highs and lows, through ups and downs, and perhaps more or less in the form of a business analogy. So this guy sells basically pancakes for a living, and depending on the way his business is going, his own character and his own self-esteem is thrown into the mix as well, and you can see the rise and the fall of that respectively. It's all about how society perceives the deceased as well, and how certain stigmas remain even in present times because of a lack of education on the subject in question. It is anything but a disheartening book, however, and the woman. This is one thing I can criticize the book for. One of the reasons I gave it 3 stars instead of more. And my 3 stars isn't a bad 3 stars for this one. It's more of a 3.5 to be honest. But the woman Centaur owes money to, she should have come across as more of an annoying person rather than a logical woman, because we are meant to hate her. We are meant to sympathize with Centauro rather than understand what she is trying to say. And Sukegawa does try to make her come across as an evil person, but I don't think he does so as well as he should have. So that is one point which I certainly would have elaborated upon were I to be the author of this book. And she was perhaps the only character not written so well in this book, because all the others are fully fledged and well rounded and very enjoyable to read about and to learn and understand about their past, their presence, and what would be going on with them. Um, yeah, in due course, basically. I must say that the ending didn't quite catch me by surprise, but I was still saddened by it. Once again, I will not spoil anything, Perhaps it might not come across as a shock to you either, but it's still saddening to see what goes on in the end. And there are certain letters that are exchanged which add to the depressing tone of the book even further. Another big complaint of mine about this book is how long it took for it to get to the point, because once you do understand the point the read is trying to establish, you begin to realize that the chapters in the beginning are quite unnecessary, as very little context is needed to understand what's going on with Centaur's life, with his job, why he is feeling this way, etc. And I didn't mind this very much, to be honest, but it would have perhaps been 50 pages shorter and more of a quicker, more stimulating read, I suppose. It is very simple, yet philosophical, and it is one of those very few charming reads which leave more that is unsaid rather than said, one which you think about so much, that there is so much in between the lines, perhaps, so much to unpack that you end up thinking about it more than you spend time reading it, and you don't find such books around anymore. And it was a breath of fresh air, to be honest. I'll be thinking about this one for a long time, as a matter of fact. The dream was fascinating when I joined the dots, and I would have loved to were there to be more chapters about the cherry blossom trees, I suppose, because cherry blossoms and cherry blossom trees are something which I associate with Japan and something which I love very much, and they intrigue me quite a lot. Anyway, that's all I had to say about the book Sweet Bean Paste by this guy called Durian Sukegawa. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to let me know in the comment section down below, and make sure to do everything else that will help contribute to this channel, whether it's subscribe, like, share, check out the rest of my videos, anything you can to make this channel the largest book lover community on the internet. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one very, very soon. Bye, guys.